is up? Welcome back to another episode of Light from Mars. So excited to have you guys here today. Today we are going to be talking about vegan Thanksgiving. All right, so I am stoked. All right, I'm so excited. A lot of people have actually been requesting this video. Little did they know I already had it in mind anyway. So I'm very excited to be talking about this today. So we are going to be talking about all things Thanksgiving and vegan. All right, so we are going to be talking about how to make all of your favorite Thanksgiving classic meals and sides and all of that. We're going to be talking about how you can have that same amazing Thanksgiving experience, but plant-based, vegan friendly. So we're gonna go through all the foods. I'm gonna break it down for you guys and we are going to delve into it. All right, so I'm so excited. Now, I do wanna say, I obviously know that this Thanksgiving is definitely not the typical Thanksgiving, right? I mean, like everything in 2020 just added to the list of holidays and birthdays that got messed up, right? But that does not mean that you cannot have a nice meal for yourself, okay? So this is going to work for you whether you are literally just by yourself and you're gonna be cooking a small little meal for yourself, or you're actually with your family or whatever. Obviously, I'm not encouraging anyone to throw any parties or get in any large groups, but you know, I know some of you have larger, like immediate families, things like that. So you can really adjust this for like a larger party or for just you. So I'm so excited to go through all of these, guys. It's going to be super delicious. Even just thinking about it, I'm like, that vegan Thanksgiving. For those of you guys who've never been here before, well, welcome. My name is Marissa. I have actually been vegan for 3.5 years now. I absolutely love being vegan and I actually make a lot of vegan content. So if you're into that kind of thing, make sure you hit that little subscribe button right down below and hit the little bell too while you're at it so you can get post notifications for when I do post. So that being said, let's just dive right into this, guys. Let's just dive right into all this delicious, turkey-friendly, vegan content Thanksgiving. So basically what I want to do is I want to go through every like classic Thanksgiving food and I'm going to tell you guys how you can either adjust it or make it vegan. All right, so the first thing that I want to start with is turkey, right? Okay, so obviously this is like the Thanksgiving staple. We all know that, right? Like, what is Thanksgiving without a turkey? I mean, most people would at least probably think that. Or maybe you don't do turkey, you know, maybe you do ham or something like that, but I know most people do turkey. So let's talk about how can you still have your little turkey fix, right? I mean, obviously if you're vegan, you're not eating meat, right? So you're not gonna eat a real turkey or a real pig, a real ham, right? So that being said, there are some things that you can do / buy in order to have that same little turkey fix, but plant-based. So probably the most well-known plant-based turkey option is this thing called tofurkey, okay? And I'm gonna be putting pictures of all of this so you guys can see what I'm talking about. You can kind of get an idea for what it actually looks like if you were to go buy it at the store. But they actually have this at so many stores now, especially now that vegan is becoming kind of more popular, but any big grocery store really probably will have it. And it is basically exactly what it kind of sounds like. It is a tofu turkey. So it is a turkey that's made out of tofu. And yeah, they're really good. They're kind of big. Actually, I think they have different sizes, but it's a pretty good size, you know? And so it's definitely for more than one person. So if you are someone who has like a little family, maybe a family of 4 or 5, that would probably be plenty for all of you guys. It's obviously not like the huge 20-pound turkey, you know? If you wanted something like that, you probably have to get a couple, but obviously they're also a lot cheaper than a turkey. So I'd highly recommend that you try that out. That is pretty much the easiest thing. It's literally just like, you know, you cook it, you follow the instructions on the box, and there you have yourself a tofurkey. Like I said, they also do have like ham substitutes as well. I think it's actually the same brand, if I'm not mistaken. I'll try to find a couple of examples for you guys for that one as well. But basically it's just ham, but instead of the ham, again, like it's just meat substitute and it just tastes like ham. So really, whatever your preferences, you honestly can find some kind of substitute in the store. And although there are ways in which you can make this yourself, theoretically, it's a lot harder. And so I would just say that it's really much easier if you just buy something. That being said, my personal favorite turkey is actually something a little bit different. It's not something I hear people very often talking about when it comes to vegan Thanksgiving. A lot of people do mention tofurkey or even the meat substitute hams, but not a lot of people mention that you can also buy turkey cutlets. And one of my favorite brands that does that is Gardein. Okay, so you guys have seen my other vegan videos. You know that I am obsessed with Gardein. They have a bunch of different substitute meats. They have chicken, they have fish, they have meatballs, they have ground beef, they have like everything you could possibly want as far as plant-based meat substitutes. And of course, they also have turkey cutlets, okay? So they are so delicious, guys. I mean, chef's kiss. All right, it's turkey. Like, it tastes like turkey. It literally tastes like breaded turkey. It is so freaking good. And I think in the pack, it comes with like 6 of them, I wanna say. And it comes with 2 gravies also. So you literally have your turkey and your gravy. That is definitely enough for at least 2 people. But again, that's like $5 for the whole pack. So that's so cheap. You could literally feed like 4 people for 10 bucks, you know, with the turkey and the gravy. So who doesn't love that? By the way, guys, I just want to apologize that there's probably some background hum in the background. My air conditioner just turned on, so we're just going to pretend like that's not there. Thanks. So now that we have talked about that main dish, the turkey, let's talk about all of the sides, right? Because I know it's not Thanksgiving without all the delicious sides, because yeah, the turkey's good, but let's get real, it's complemented by all the other stuff. I mean, at least in my opinion, you know? So let's talk about all the other sides. So the first thing I want to talk about is mashed potatoes. All right, now mashed potatoes, that's a classic, right? I mean, not even just for Thanksgiving, like who does not love mashed potatoes? I'm sure some people do, but a lot of people love them, right? And I'm one of those people. You might be one of those people too. So let's talk about mashed potatoes. Like, what even is mashed potatoes? Obviously, it's a mashed potatoes. Yeah. And if you did not know, I know this might sound like that's kind of like duh, but potatoes are vegan because they are a vegetable. Now, again, that may sound like, well, of course they're a vegetable, it's a potato. But I cannot tell you guys how many times I've been asked by family members, people that are just not vegan, is a potato vegan? And yes, it is. It is a vegetable and therefore it is vegan. So as far as the potato aspects of it, you're really good as far as that's concerned. You don't need to make any substitutes. You can just still use a regular old potato, okay? So the really only thing that you have to worry about when it comes to mashed potatoes is butter, okay? So everyone loves to put like tons and tons of butter in their mashed potatoes, or at least a lot of people do. So how can you get around that, right? Because obviously butter, you know, that comes from the cow's tatas. That's not vegan, girl, okay? So let's talk about how we can replace that. Now, first of all, the very easiest thing you can do is just buy plant-based butter, all right? Now, there's a ton of substitutes. My favorite personal brand is Earth Balance. I love Earth Balance butter. Honestly, 90% of the vegan butters taste exactly the same as regular butter. Like, I'm telling you guys, I have family members, so many people I know that buy vegan butter and they don't even know that they're buying vegan butter. Like, they just think it's regular butter because it tastes exactly the same and it's in the exact same section usually as regular butter. But then they're like, oh my God, this is made from plants. Like, this is made real butter. So as far as taste is concerned, you cannot tell the difference. Like, even if you made it for your whole family, like you're just like, oh, I'll bring the mashed potatoes, you know what I mean? Or maybe not bring, right? Because you're not supposed to be meeting coronavirus. But you're like, I'll cook the mashed potatoes. Or again, if you're just making them for yourself, you're not gonna be able to tell the difference. Like, no one will be able to tell the difference between the regular butter mashed potatoes and the plant-based butter, all right? So it tastes exactly the same. So that is for sure the easiest thing to do. Other than that, if you are not wanting to put any butter, let's just say you're like not really trying to do that at all, like you don't even want to do plant-based butter, another really great substitute for butter is oil. Whether you are buying like powder mashed potatoes and just making them that way, you can do that. Or you can, of course, also like actually cook potatoes, boil them, bake them, and then mash them, and maybe do a combination of the two. No matter what you're doing, you're probably gonna end up adding some sort of butter or oil, okay? So really, of course, all oils are vegan, so you don't really even need to think about that, but it gives you that kind of same kind of consistency and like creamy flavor that you get from butter. Now, some people also do add milk to their mashed potatoes, and if that's the case, obviously it's, again, very simple. All you have to do is use plant-based milk. Of course, I would suggest that you use an unsweetened milk. That's the real big catch when it comes to vegan milks, is that some of them are flavored, some of them like are just original where they have a little bit of sugar, there's vanilla flavor, but you want to make sure you're using unsweetened milk when you are making savory foods. And yeah, I mean, other than that, of course, you can add all your favorite spices, maybe some rosemary, some thyme, some garlic, you know, whatever you like in your mashed potatoes. Obviously, all sorts of herbs and all of that is vegan. So really the main thing that you even need to think about when it comes to mashed potatoes is butter and milk. Next thing, let's talk about corn. Okay, so corn, again, corn is a vegetable, so it is vegan. Yes, it is vegan. Yes, it is vegan. All right, so Corn, again, I would say that the majority of the time, the only thing that people do with corn is that they mix it with butter. At least in my experience, that's what I've noticed that a lot of people do, is that they cook the corn with butter to kind of give it that more, you know, just delicious, savory flavor. So again, you can still do that. You just got to use the vegan butter. All right. So even if you just mentioned to your family or your parents or like your roommates or whatever, like, hey, if you're going to use any butter, I bought this tub of vegan butter, which is the exact same price as regular butter, by the way. And just say like, yeah, I bought this vegan butter, so if you're gonna use that, like if you're gonna use butter, just use this one instead. And like I said, it's exactly the same thing. They're not gonna notice any taste difference. It's gonna taste just as good as your corn with the regular butter, so don't worry about it. And other than that, I mean, yeah, corn is a vegetable. All vegetables are vegetables. I know I shouldn't have to say that, but I just want to make sure that it's very clear, because like I said, I have just noticed that there's so many misunderstandings as far as what is vegan and what is not. And I guess I'll just say real quick, all animal products, so if it came from an animal or it is an animal, that is not vegan. But if it came from the earth, if it's a plant, if it grew on a tree or from a flower or on a vine or in a root or any of that, it is vegan. Okay, so as long as it's not involved in an animal, it is vegan. All right, so let's move on to the next Thanksgiving side. The next thing that I want to talk about is stuffing. All right, guys, so this one's a big one, all right, because once again, this one is traditionally very much animal based. I mean, and if y'all have ever seen stuffing being made, you know what I mean. I mean, they got the hearts, they got the livers, like they got the entire like body of this poor turkey being cooked inside of itself. With some breadcrumbs. That's usually what stuffing is. And don't get me wrong, guys, like I know I'm just kind of making fun of it, but it obviously tastes good, right? Like I cannot lie, I grew up on it. Like, you know, I'm not immune. I have tasted it. I know it tastes good. So I do not blame you for eating it, but I'm here to tell you, girl or boy, or they, or whoever, however you identify, that you can still have stuffing and it can be plant-based with no turkey organs, with no turkey at all, or any animal involved, okay? So how do you do that? So the main thing that I would recommend doing, again, is just buying a herb or like bread-based stuffing mix, okay? So I usually buy mine from Sprouts. I know they also have them in Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. Like usually natural stores are more likely to have, or like, you know, natural stores are more likely to have vegan products like that. But you can also find it a lot of the times at even like big places like Target or Walmart or any place like that. Really, it's as simple as kind of turning it around and seeing like, what does this have in it? You know what I mean? Like, does this have anything that's not vegan? And usually it won't, because a lot of the times people mix those stuffing mixes with all of the turkey innards. So the hack is that you can make it without all of the turkey innards and it can still taste really good. So for example, the one I get from Sprouts is literally just like the breadcrumb and herb mix. And all you have to do is cook it over a stove with a little bit of vegetable broth, okay? That is the hack. Like, you just gotta mix it with vegetable broth and let it cook for a little while, and it's gonna have the exact same texture, the exact same taste. Like, again, if you wanna add any spices to it, you can definitely do that. Even if you wanted to cook it with your little tofurkey, you can still do that. And I'm telling you guys, it tastes so, so good. This is one of those things that I've actually brought to my family Thanksgivings over the last couple of years, and they always love it. Like, they're always just like,
wow, that's actually so good.
And it really tastes the same, guys. Like, I mean, obviously, yeah, you're not going to be getting bites of like organs. But if you are trying to make a more elaborate recipe, there is recipes out there for you as well. So I am actually going to have a Pinterest link down below in the description for you guys to all sorts of recipes for all of these things, okay? So even if you don't want to go buy like a store-made, store-ready version of these things and just kind of like tweak it a little bit like I'm mentioning, you can also definitely make it homemade from scratch. Like if you're a really good cook or you enjoy cooking or you just want a project to do with your mom or something, like you can definitely do these as well. So take in mind after you finish this video that you can definitely click on that link below and it will take you to all sorts of recipes so that you can get more specific directions on how you can make these things as well. So next, let's talk about cranberry sauce. All right, so this one is, again, kind of intuitive, I think, right? Cranberries are obviously a fruit, so that is, of course, vegan. plant-based, ding, ding, ding. And yeah, that is actually so simple because I really don't even think that there's any changes that you need to make to cranberry sauce to make it vegan, especially if you're buying it from the store. Like sometimes I know that when people home make things, they can just mix some random things in there. You never know what like grandma's secret recipe is, you know? But if you were buying it like canned from the store, 100% that is vegan. Like it's literally just cranberries and maybe some sugar or whatever else they mix in there. Obviously, I'd recommend getting organic when it comes to any of these things. But yeah, that is completely vegan. And honestly, I just wanted to throw that in there to kind of also mention to you guys that a lot of the times you're already eating vegan meals without even knowing it, right? Or there's already sides that exist in Thanksgiving that are either already vegan or that can just be tweaked very slightly to be vegan. So this is one of those examples of something that is already vegan. So tell your whole family, like, if you guys have been having cranberry sauce, like you've already been having vegan Thanksgiving kind of. So, you know, don't judge. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is mac and cheese. Okay, so I am just pretty much trying to go through all of the sides that I think you guys might have had at your Thanksgivings. Maybe not everyone has had mac and cheese at their Thanksgivings, right? Maybe some people have, but obviously I know people love mac and cheese, like myself included. It's obviously bomb. So let's talk about vegan mac and cheese. Like, how can you go about doing that? So again, as with most of these things, the easiest way is just to get like a box of mac and cheese that is vegan, okay? So my personal favorite brand is the Amy's brand. They have a little bunny on the box. That's how you know it's theirs. And they have a vegan mac. Like it says on there, vegan mac, right? Like they have all of the regular mac and cheeses, and you'll notice that they have one box or usually two boxes, one that's like regular, one that's gluten-free, or maybe they even have 3 different flavors, but it'll say vegan mac. And so that is of course completely vegan and plant-based. And that is not the only vegan mac and cheese that you can find that's like boxed. It's just like a regular mac and cheese. Literally, you just boil the water, you put in the noodles, you let the noodles cook, and then after the noodles are cooked, you drain the water, you put in the powder that it comes with, which is obviously like the cheese powder, right? But it's plant-based cheese powder. And then you mix in a little bit of plant-based milk, a little bit of plant-based butter, and there you have it. You have your mac and cheese. So that is definitely the absolute easiest way to do it by far. And the cool thing about that too is that you can make a very small serving. So it's like, even if you are the only person in your family that is vegan, or you just went vegan and like you're the only person that's gonna be eating plant-based this year, you can totally make this for yourself. And it honestly can be pretty cheap. Like I wanna say that those Annie's boxes are like maybe $3.50, something like that, and they're organic. So who doesn't love that? Now, that being said, if you're trying to make it from scratch, it's pretty much the exact same process, right? Like you just need to get the noodles, the little macaroni noodles. You can get some cheese. So you can either buy like actual vegan cheese, because they do have that, or you can do a vegan cheese recipe. Again, there's gonna be a lot of recipes in the link down below in the Pinterest board that you guys can look at. One thing that I really recommend for using for cheese, vegan cheese substitutes, is nutritional yeast. So if you guys have never heard of nutritional yeast and you're going vegan or you're eating more plant-based, you got to hear about it. All right, so let me tell you about it. It is honestly amazing. It is actually regarded as a superfood. It has a ton of protein and it really has like kind of a cheesy flavor. Now, that's not the only flavor it has. Like honestly, it can add flavor to so many different things. Like I use this to make tofu scrambles and stuff all the time. But it is very good for cheesy things. So you'll probably notice that a lot of these recipes do have nutritional yeast, or some people call it nooch, because that's a really big, awesome thing that you can use to get that kind of cheesy flavor when it comes to obviously non-cheese alternatives. And yeah, other than that, again, like plant-based milk, plant-based butter. It's really just a matter of getting the substitutes, but it's pretty much the exact same cooking process. You know what I mean? Like most of the time you can even just use the recipes you already have. Like if you have a really good mac and cheese recipe, just substitute it for the vegan cheeses or the vegan ingredients, the vegan versions of those ingredients, and you can still have your fave mac and cheese. All right, next let's talk about sweet potatoes. So I know some people might have like just sweet potatoes. Some people might have sweet potato casseroles. I know that's what my family used to make, and it was so freaking bomb. Like even just thinking about it, I'm like, oh, like honestly, I want it now. And it's so good, right? It's like a delicious little dessert that comes with Thanksgiving. And let's talk about it, right? Like, let's talk about how you can make that vegan. So, of course, once again, we already talked about potatoes being vegan. So I'm sure you can guess that sweet potatoes are also a vegetable and they're also vegan. So your base already, like, you're covered, you're good, right? But obviously, most people, like, you're not just ending it there, right? Like, you're gonna make it sweet. You wanna add some butter, you wanna add some cinnamon, you wanna add some sugar, some milk, whatever have you, right? So again, just like we talked about with the other stuff, like, if you're gonna be using butter, of course, just use plant-based butter. If you need milk, use plant-based milk. A lot of people I know put like marshmallows on top. They have vegan plant-based marshmallows. So just make sure you're getting those, and they're the exact same price. Again, like, you just have to look for it. Most of the time it really is just that simple. You just have to actually turn things around, make sure that they don't have milk or eggs or dairy products or any animal products. And most of the time you're gonna be able to find at least one version of the item that you need that doesn't. So it really just takes like that little bit of extra effort. Obviously, I think that most people are probably not using any meat in sweet potatoes. I don't think, the only thing I could even think that maybe you would use is like bacon. And even if you wanted to do something like that, maybe even for like your mashed potatoes, they do also have vegan bacon. So if you're a little heart desires it, you can definitely do that. You can even make it yourself. I've even seen that happen. So it's just, again, like a little bit of a commitment, right? To try to get the plant-based versions instead of just maybe doing what we're used to, or, you know, just going to the same sections that we always go to in the grocery store. All right, so the next item that I want to talk about is green beans, guys, okay? And so I know that a lot of people do eat green beans around Thanksgiving time. I know some people make green bean casseroles, and also I just want to throw out there that this also kind of goes for like any vegetable, any other vegetable other than like corn or potatoes. I couldn't think of anything that was super common like in my mind, but this applies to any vegetables like carrots, I mean, whatever have you, right? This kind of also goes into all of the other ones, is that most of the time people are going to use butter. They might use some kind of like cheese, right? If you're making some sort of casserole, or some kind of milk, maybe even some kind of cream cheese. I know people use all sorts of different ingredients, you know, for their different recipes. And all of those things, every single one of them, there are vegan alternatives, including for the cream cheese, including for cheeses. You can find shredded cheese. You can find like little strips, like the little sheets. I don't know what they're called anymore. The little, like, you know, like sandwich cheeses, the slices. You can find any of that stuff. So again, it's just a matter of like making sure that you are getting the vegan version of those things, right? Like, you're already gonna have to go out and buy those ingredients more than likely. So just make sure that you're getting the vegan alternatives to those ingredients. And again, I'm gonna have more specific recipes below if you guys wanna cook something like very, very fancy. Even with like breadcrumbs, things like that. I know that a lot of people use those in casseroles. Again, it's just a matter of flipping over the little breadcrumb box, making sure that there's no eggs or anything like that in there. By the way, also eggs, of course, can also be substituted. So they have things called like just eggs, which is pretty much like a egg scramble in a bottle. They also have like powder substitutes, usually in the baking section, that are like egg substitutes for baking. You can also do a flax egg, which is basically ground flax seeds with water. There's so many different ways to do egg substitutes. So again, even an egg, like, there is no excuse. Just kidding. There's also no judgment, but there is no reason that you cannot have everything be plant-based, because it's totally possible. Again, it just kind of takes rethinking the way we usually cook, rethinking the way we usually shop, and just putting the effort out there to try to do the vegan alternative. All right, guys, so I have two more vegan Thanksgiving staples that I want to go through. The first one is rolls or cornbread. All right, so let's talk about bread, guys. Okay, so first of all, cornbread, I would say, is kind of easy to make vegan, because usually you can just buy a packet, and again, like, even if it calls for milk or eggs, or I don't even know exactly what cornbread calls for, maybe butter, I think, right? Yeah. Even if you need any of those things, again, it's just a matter of getting the plant-based substitute, right? Which we already talked about. Same thing with rolls. Like, if you're gonna try to make your own dinner rolls, which, by the way, again, I'm gonna have links below to how to make like vegan Hawaiian rolls, like those super delicious rolls. Like, you can literally make that. Even like the Texas Roadhouse rolls, I know those are like iconic, you know, like you can make that thing basically completely homemade and still be vegan, okay? So I know it's groundbreaking, all right? Yes, I'm serious. Hype aside, I will have the recipes down below for cornbread and for rolls, but again, it's just a matter of doing the vegan substitutes, like it's the exact same process pretty much most of the time of making regular cornbread or making regular bread, except you have the vegan substitutes for the ingredients instead of the regular animal-based ingredients. All right, guys, and the final thing that I want to talk about today, it would not be Thanksgiving without this, all right? And at least in my opinion, maybe some people don't like it, but I think it is literally like the Thanksgiving staple and probably the thing I looked forward to like the most as a child, and that is pumpkin freaking pie. Okay, so let's talk about pumpkin pie, guys. Like the iconic, the one, the only pumpkin pie. Okay, like let's talk about it. So pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie is actually extremely easy to make vegan. In fact, I was actually making like vegan pumpkin pie before I was even vegan because it is so good. Like it's so easy to make. Okay, so same thing with all of the other things. Most of it you're just going to be using plant-based substitutes. If you need some sort of like heavy creamer or condensed milk, I would recommend using something like coconut milk because that like thickens the consistency. It adds more fat to pies or to different types of desserts. Obviously, any kind of pumpkin puree. Of course, pumpkin is a vegetable, correct? Pumpkin is a vegetable. It is a type of squash. So pumpkin is completely vegan. There's no worry there. Obviously, again, like any spices that you're gonna use, like nutmeg or pumpkin spice or cinnamon or cardamom or any of the other spices that you like in your pumpkin pie, those are all gonna be vegan. I would say the main thing that you really even have to worry about is just the creams. So again, like you can use coconut cream, you can use different kinds of plant-based milks, and there are a million different recipes for this, guys. Even like the actual crust, you can obviously make the crust with the appropriate substitutions, or you can even just buy a crust that doesn't have eggs or milk. Like I have found those honestly so easily. Every single year it is so easy to find those plant-based crusts. Believe it or not, I don't know, it's just like so simple. So I would recommend, the way that I usually make my pumpkin pies is that I literally just put them all in like a NutriBullet or a blender. I blend all the ingredients together so that it's all like a nice puree, and then you pour it into the crust, right? And then you just put it in the oven. And it is so easy, guys, and it is so delicious. And you're gonna show up with that to your family gathering, or you're gonna make it for your family at home or whatever, and they are going to be shooketh, guys, because it is so good. It tastes exactly the same as regular pumpkin pie, okay? And obviously, I know I have to mention this as well. Let's talk about whipped cream, okay? Because I know that one of the most iconic parts of pumpkin pie for a lot of people is that dollop of whipped cream on top, right? Maybe it's a little spiral, or maybe it's like whipped cream with a side of pumpkin pie, you know? So let me tell you, you can still have that too, okay? You don't even have to give it up. Like, what good news. I know. Basically, the best substitute for that is something called Cocoa Whip, okay? And it is basically coconut milk whipped cream. So again, instead of using regular cow milk, you are instead using coconut milk, and it's the exact same process. They just like literally whip the cream, you know, add some sugar, and it's whipped cream. Again, it comes in like the little like package, the exact same package. Like I'll put a picture, and you know, it looks exactly the same as the regular whipped cream, and it tastes exactly the same too. Like literally exactly the same. Like if you gave me a spoonful of that whipped cream and a spoonful of regular whipped cream, I guarantee you I could not tell the difference. Like it tastes the same, okay? They even have a light version, which is like, you know, low sugar if you're not wanting something so sweet. Obviously it's already better for you though, just because it's not dairy, but it still has a lot of sugar. So I mean, you know, like just keep that in mind. It's not the healthiest thing. But yeah, that you can also find so many different places, and they do have different brands for that as well, of Cocoa Whip or just plant-based like whipped cream in general. But yeah, it's just a matter of going that little bit of extra effort to get that as well, right? So it's that simple, guys. I mean, vegan Thanksgiving is honestly so attainable. It is honestly also pretty easy, and it is not hard at all, in the very least, to make some of your dishes plant-based. Like I said, like if you're just making mashed potatoes and the only thing that's not vegan in it is the butter, just use a vegan butter. You know what I mean? Like it's so easy. And I think that a lot of people think that it's very difficult to make vegan foods, or they have this idea that you probably have to give up everything, right? Like somebody would probably think like, oh, you can't have anything from Thanksgiving, right? Like you'll probably just have a salad. on the side, right? And like maybe a roll or whatever. But that's so not true. Like you can still have all of your Thanksgiving fixes, all of your fave Thanksgiving foods, and just do little adjustments to make them plant-based, to make them vegan. So I'm here to encourage you guys that you should just go for it. If you are trying to go vegan, if you're in the process of switching to more plant-based diet, try a vegan Thanksgiving this year, guys. It's honestly not expensive. I would say it's definitely cheaper than regular Thanksgiving in my opinion. And it's very attainable. Like you can go to any major grocery store and find the ingredients that you will need to do this. If you guys have any questions for me at all, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I would be happy to answer anything that I didn't already talk about. Like I said, I will have a link down below to a Pinterest board with more recipes for all sorts of vegan Thanksgiving things. Again, if you want to make something a little more fancy, or if you just want some more specific instructions, or maybe just some recipes that I have tried and that I really enjoy, I am happy to share those with you guys. So make sure that you hit that Pinterest link below as well so you can get that too. And of course, if you guys did enjoy this video, please just take 1 second to give it a big like. I really appreciate that. It makes such a big difference for me, and it really means that you guys like this kind of content, so that I should continue making it, you know what I mean? And of course, I'm just gonna ask one more time that if you are not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, guys. That means the world to me, okay? It's a free way that you can support me, free way that you can help me out. It takes like 1 second and it means the world to me. I absolutely love making videos so much, guys. Like it is genuinely my passion. And so by clicking that subscribe button, you are helping me make my dreams a reality. So it really means a lot. Other than that, guys, that is pretty much it for today's episode. If you have anything that you think I missed, like maybe one of your favorite Thanksgiving staples, please share it down below. Like if you are vegan, if you have any good recipes or good links, please leave all of your thoughts, all of your comments, all of your ponderings of the universe in the comments down below. I would love to see it. And thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, really hope that you got something out of it, and that this is gonna help you have a yummy, delicious, plant-based Thanksgiving, whether it be 2020 or not, whether it be socially distanced or not. Who says that you can't have some yummy food? I think that you can and still be vegan, okay? So yes, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful Thanksgiving this year, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!